Classic ninja stuff here, huh? Oh, that's dope. Some shadow technique. I think I saw this one before, briefly. This is the one where he looks like Nocturne. Yeah, right there, bro. People are like, Zed's not related to Nocturne. I don't know why people are so resistant to it. I mean, in this fucking shot, he looks just like Nocturne. Like, and Nocturne's like the nightmare, but also uses like shadow shit. Yeah, I mean, that ability right there, isn't that like Nocturne's ult or something? That he's doing? This was a theory since way back? Yeah, people still treat it like it's a theory. Oh, this is like what Kayn does and both use the shadow technique? There you go. Also, when I read the short story about Nocturne, I think it was the short story. It talked about like those ancient individuals who used the shadow technique and how they'd use it to make like shadow assassins as copies and shit that they would like attack people with, which I'm pretty sure like Zed does. Like, pretty sure he does it in this cinematic. He's badass, dude. Look at the cuts through all the fucking trees. Yeah, he's badass, man. That's nice. You get a theme here, too. He's fucking scary, dude. His red glowing eyes as well. Yeah. Some demon-looking shit. He's also one of the old champs. Yeah. You can tell. His music evokes dread. Something sinister is coming. That's like Shredder. Short, but good. Short, but a banger. Enjoy that. This is from 9 years ago, so I don't know if any of this is out of date or not, but we'll listen to the original stuff here he's talking about. Man, that old Necrid intro, huh?
Hello everyone, and welcome. I know that a lot of you asked me to talk about Jhin, but I can't do that yet. Not before.
I would check the dates on the lore you watch. Zed and Shen had a lore revamp recently. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just like watch the old stuff and then I'll watch the new stuff, and if it changed and then we'll cut what we don't need and we'll keep what we do.
We talk about Shen and Zed. It all started in Kinko Monastery in Ionia. Zed was an orphan that was taken in by a great ninja master called Great Master Kusho. Only one other student was able to match Zed's skills.
Shen?
Kusho's son, Shen.
Nice.
Shen and Zed together became the most powerful students in the entire monastery. Even at their young age, they were sent out on elite missions as a team under the lead of Kusho. One of these missions was tracking down the infamous Golden Demon. The Golden Demon
Jhin.
was a criminal very well known for leaving brutally humiliated corpses behind.
Right, I read this short story about him.
After investigating these horrific crimes for 4 long years, all 3 of them were changed. Kusho's red hair turned white, Shen's sense of humor disappeared, and Zed began to struggle with his studies. Fortunately, Kusho finally found a pattern that led them to the criminal. In the end, it was revealed that the Golden Demon was just a stagehand in a traveling theater, working under the name Kada Jhin.
Yeah.
It seemed like after all that trouble, it would all have a happy ending. but the damage was already done. When they returned to the monastery, Zed became unstable. Even after all of his training, he still wasn't able to beat Shen. Every time they clashed, it ended in a draw. Frustrated and jealous, he started looking for an advantage. He sneaked inside a sealed part of their temple, where he found an ancient box. He knew he shouldn't open it, but he looked inside nonetheless. In an instant, shadows reached out and touched Zed's mind. The gift he received was a dark knowledge of hidden techniques.
It's very interesting. I wonder if there's like more to that, like it was part of Nocturne or Nocturne sealed inside the box or some shit. He opened it up and something like that. But yeah, this is older lore, so I don't know.
The next day, he challenged Shen, and this time, he finally defeated him. He expected recognition in his moment of victory, but the master knew that Zed had used the forbidden ways, and he banished him. Humiliated, Zed wandered Ionia for years. He didn't want the forbidden techniques to go to waste, and so he started training other ninjas that were also interested in the style of shadows. Unfortunately, he knew that his techniques would never be perfect without the box. And so, one day he gathered up his students that were now an entire army, and they marched into Kinko Monastery. When they arrived, Zed was surprised that Master Kushou welcomed them as guests. He laid his blade at Zed's feet, declaring that he had failed Zed as his master. By banishing him, he doomed Zed to the shadows, instead of leading him to balance. He told Zed to follow him inside the temple, destroy the box, and lead his followers to balance as well. Zed did follow him inside. Moments later, everyone outside heard Zed cry out in pain. Mysteriously, he emerged from the temple unharmed, and he threw the severed head of Kushou at Shen's feet. Screaming in rage, Zed commanded his followers to slaughter Kushou's students and take the box. Though many students died, some escaped thanks to Shen's heroic efforts. With Kushou dead, Shen took his place as the leader of the Kinko order. He took his father's spirit blade, which turned him into the Eye of Twilight. He was now forbidden from allowing passion to sway his judgment. His duty was to take care of both the human realm and the spirit realm by bringing them into a state of balance known as equilibrium.
Yeah, and this is something that Yone does not believe in. Yone's not a fan. Yeah, the title's interesting, Eye of Twilight. So you think light and dark. Makes you obviously also think of like the aspects of Twilight, just thematic similarities between the meaning of Twilight.
Whenever the spirits or the humans started overwhelming the other realm, Shen had to strike without mercy and push everyone back in line. Shen uses two different tools for his job. The Spirit Blade, which allows him to face out into the spirit realm to fight the invisible creatures, and the Ionian Steel Saber, capable of splitting living beings in half with a single strike. Even though Shen walks a lonely path, he doesn't always walk alone. The mortal Shadow Warrior Akali and the lightning-quick Yordle Kennen are always ready to assist him.
Hell yeah.
Throughout the years of successful duty as the Eye of Twilight, many legends about Shen were born. Legends about fighting 7 demon clan in Ionia, battling the Skin Devourers from the Black Steppes of Freljord, or even the story told by the Noxians themselves. Apparently one day, Shen suddenly appeared in the central court of Noxus. It seemed as if he was fighting something invisible to the onlookers. He was phasing in and out of existence so quick that no one knew what was going on. That was the day Shen saved Noxus from the evil within. One of Shen's recent
Mordekaiser?
travels brought him to an Ionian fishing village. A fisherman from this village told Shen that his ship was destroyed by a large monster that killed 6 of his men. After listening to his tale, Shen decided to investigate the shipwreck himself. Fortunately, the investigation was quickly over as he found a silver hair. Most people would overlook it, but Shen was no ordinary man. The hair dissolved into nothing at his touch,
That's fucking
indicating that it wasn't from this world. A demon. You must have sailed into its path, Shen said. The fisherman nodded. The barrier between the two realms was very thin in Ionia. A spirit could easily wander into the mortal realm, and as the Eye of Twilight, it was Shen's duty to strike the beast down for killing 6 mortal beings. You need not worry, I shall have the monster before nightfall, said a voice behind Shen. Shen turned to see a holy man sent by the local temple. Few acolytes stood around him, carrying the necessary tools for a cleansing ritual. Can we count on your help, sir? The man asked. Balance will be restored, Shen answered. Shen continued tracking down the beast on his own. Soon, a trail of shimmering silver hair led him to a sleeping demon with half-eaten corpses laying around him. Without a sound, Shen got closer to the demon and drew his spirit blade. Before he could ready his strike, loud ghastly screeching echoed through the air. Shen could identify the noise. He heard it many times before. These were the cries of dying spirits.
Yeesh.
The demon started waking up and Shen considered his options. After a brief moment, he clapped his hands together and disappeared into a vortex of energy. He arrived back at the shipwreck. He saw smoking pools of black ooze evaporating into the air.
Uh-oh.
These were the remains of the spirits the acolytes caught. The holy man caught a small spiritual imp and tied
Little
him
WoW
on a
imp.
leash. Would you care to dispose of this one? The holy man asked. Shen looked at the black pools. Then he looked back at the man and the imp. I'm sorry for this, your highness, he said. He put his spirit blade away and drew his steel saber instead. It wasn't the sword he had expected to use that day, but equilibrium had its rules. This is where the first part of Shen's and Zed's story cuts off. The second part will be explained in Jin's lore. So if you'd like to see more, hang around and I will deliver it to you as soon as I can.
That's a good video.
Thank you
Even
all
if it's
so
old,
much for watching.
still good.
As always,
Oldie
you
but
can
a
follow
goodie.
me on all the social media, comment and talk about whatever you want in the comment section, and rate the video to your liking.
Let's read Zed real quick before I continue. Beneath Ionia's veil of harmony lie the tales of those left behind. For Zed, his story began as a boy on the cold steps of the home of the King Ku order. Taken in by the great master Kusho himself, Zed found his place within the temple's ancient walls. He dedicated himself to understanding the King Ku's spiritual tenets, quickly outpacing his peers both in combat and study. Even so, he felt overshadowed by another, his master's son, Shen. Though Zed's passion shone through in every technique he perfected, he lacked Shen's emotional balance. In spite of this, the two pupils became like brothers. In time, they journeyed together with their master to track down the infamous Golden Demon. When they finally succeeded in capturing this feared monster, it was revealed to be a mere man named Kara Jin. The young Zed marched forward with his blades held high, but Kusho stopped him, ordering that Jin be imprisoned instead. Returning to their temple, Zed's heart bloomed with resentment. Like a flower, very interesting how they say that, and he began to struggle in his studies. He was haunted by the memories of Jin's grisly murders, and rising tensions between Ionia and the imperialistic forces of Noxus only worsened his disillusionment. When Shen was growing to adopt his father's dispassion, Zed refused to let lofty notions of balance stand in the way of punishing evil. He ventured deep into the temple's hidden catacombs, and there he discovered an ornate black box. Even though he knew it was forbidden to any but the masters of the order, he peered inside. Shadows enveloped Zed's mind, feeding his bitterness with contempt for the weak and hinting at an ancient, dark magic. Returning to the light of the temple, he came face to face with Great Master Kusho. Zed demanded the Kinku strike at the Noxian invaders with every means at their disposal, but when Kusho refused, Zed turned his back on the order that had raised him. Unbound by Kinku doctrine, he raised a following of warriors to resist Noxus. Any soul who threatened his homeland or stood idle in its defense was marked for death without mercy, including native Vastaya who wavered in their allegiance. Zed urged his followers to embrace the fervor of war, but soon enough he realized his own abilities would never match his ambitions without the black box. Amassing his new acolytes, he returned to the Kinku temple where he was met by Kusho. The elderly man laid his weapons at Zed's feet, imploring his former pupil to renounce the shadows in favor of a more balanced path. Moments later, however, Zed emerged back onto the temple steps. In one hand, he grasped the box, and in the other, his freshly bloodied blade. The Kinku, frozen with shock, fell in droves as Zed's warriors cut them down. He then claimed the temple for himself, establishing his Order of Shadow, and began training his acolytes in the ways of darkness. They etched their flesh with shadowy tattoos, learning to fight alongside shrouded reflections of themselves. Zed took advantage of the ongoing war with Noxus and the suffering it brought to the Ionian people. In the wake of a massacre near the Ipul River, he came upon Cain, a Noxian child soldier wielding nothing but a farmer's sickle. Zed could see the boy was a weapon waiting to be sharpened, and he took him as his personal student. So Zed taught Cain shadow technique, which Cain uses to resist Rost. And yet people are still resistant to the connection between shadow, blood, demons, and Darkin. I do not get it. I don't get why. In this young acolyte, he saw a purity of purpose to match his own. In Cain, Zed could see the future of the Order of Shadow. Though he did not reconcile with Shen and the remaining Kinku, now scattered throughout the provinces, they reached an uneasy accord in the aftermath of the war. Zed knew what he had done could not be undone. In recent years, it has become clear that the balance of the First Lands has been disrupted, perhaps forever. For Zed, spiritual harmony holds little consequence. He will do what needs to be done to see Ionia triumph. So it's very similar to Yone. Very similar.